Government absolutely insists on passing a bill that makes it easier for criminals to attack you. With violent crime part of our daily lives and GBV labeled a national disaster, they want to disarm ordinary citizens while ignoring the real causes of crime. Jonathan Deal of Safe Citizen Campaign joins me to expose why this new Firearms Amendment Bill is a direct threat to every South African. Jonathan, hello and welcome.
Thank you, Rian. Nice to be with you.
I'm so happy to finally get a gap to chat with you. Jonathan, let's fall right in with this. Okay, it's now official. This bill is now on the table. Why would you say this bill affects every South African, even those who do not own guns?
Well, quite simply, Rian, because a firearm is a necessary and intrinsic component of a civilized society.
Mm-hmm.
We use firearms to secure our national key points, to protect our leaders, to protect film stars, to protect cash in transit, to protect our borders, apparently. We use firearms for all sorts of formal, official business. And also, firearms are a necessary component for any private citizen in any country in the world to be able to protect themselves. There are very few countries globally where the reactions of the police can arrive in time to save a citizen from a violent criminal attack. Doesn't matter whether it's America, Switzerland, England, France, Greece, Israel, wherever we look, we are seeing the evidence of this. So firearms are very much a necessary component of a civilized society. They are not uncivilized. And we don't carry firearms because we want to hurt anybody. We carry firearms because we want to protect ourselves and our families and members of the public. So if you don't mind, I just want to finish off on that.
Sure.
Every single person in this country today, of the 64 million people in this country, unless they are living on a one-man plot somewhere between Koekenaap and Pofadder, has been protected at some point today by a firearm, either in a passing police vehicle, in a passing security vehicle, by an armed security guard at a shopping mall, or maybe even by their own firearm, or simply by the fact that somebody in the same restaurant or filling station or shopping center as them was lawfully armed and able to respond to save their life if necessary. Every single person. And the majority of that protection happens at the hands of the security industry, which is 4 to 5 times the size of the South African police services. And it is incredibly frightening, concerning, that the government was taking aim at the security industry as well, that these poor chaps cannot even, apparently according to this bill that was created by some architect on the instructions, the ideologically driven instructions of the government, they cannot even have pepper spray. They need written permission to have handcuffs. How much? And you can imagine, if they are dealing at that level with the security officers, what their plans are with their firearms. And these are people that are facing the worst of the criminals that the South African police cannot manage. So, Rian, now I'll get off my soapbox, but in a nutshell for me, that's why this act, if it comes through, will affect every single South African immediately, directly, and permanently.
What would you say are the most dangerous clauses hidden inside this amendment bill?
Undoubtedly, the attack on self-defense, Section 13.
Mm-hmm.
This government, I don't know if they think that we live on planet 69 or where they think we live, because all they did with this act of 2025 is they took the 2021 Act, which was roundly rejected by all the citizens in South Africa that commented on it. nearly every single political party, it was roundly rejected. And they brought it back with some lipstick on it, like putting lipstick on a pig. And they think that now that satisfies public consultation. We've heard what you said, and we've come back, and they present us with the same bill again. So Section 13 is the most dangerous. It is very clear to see how they are attacking the limits for firearms on sports shooters. They want to reduce the competency, the license validity by 50%. Can you imagine? They already can't manage their workflow. Now they want to double it. So
that's the part that I battle to comprehend. That, you know, they talk about ballistic testing. They can't keep up with ballistic testing as it is.
Correct.
Now they want to add on it, I mean, 1,000-fold.
Correct.
But they already can't handle it.
Correct.
You know, how do they sort that in their minds to say that even though we can't handle it right now, let's add all of this extra work on top of it, and then we'll be able to handle it. It makes no sense at all.
I can respond to your question as to how do they sort that in their minds, Rian. The answer is they don't sort that in their minds. They have given this no rational thought whatsoever. And this very simply because this entire push is an ideologically based policy. It is ideology. And in an ideological standpoint or position, there is no room for a rational or logical progression of any type of process like this. It is irrational and illogical, and doesn't matter, because if it suits their ideology, like telling President Trump, we will not be bullied while this country is bleeding jobs and companies, big companies are closing, we will not be bullied. That is another example of the ANC's ideology in action. It's irrational and it's illogical. And you can see the reflection of that in the expropriation without compensation, the National Health Initiative. You can see the reflection of their ideological approach, their irrational ideological approach to everything. And in South Africa, we, to a large extent, the citizens are to blame for this. Because when we get faced with a bill like this, we go into analysis paralysis and we start running around and thinking, how are we going to counter this and where are we going to do this now? And let's all get together and decide how we're going to answer this bill and at what point we're going to take them to court. But nobody is teasing the elephant into the middle of the room and pulling it in there and saying, what is the basis for you to bring these amendments? And don't tell us that it's to keep the public safe. Because, I mean, that's just completely indefensible. So that cannot be the reason.
I absolutely believe that government does not and is unable to understand the real world consequences of this bill.
I think that they understand the consequences very clearly. I think that it is within their national democratic revolution document that they want to take total and utter control of South Africa. They would like to arrive at a point where the middle class in this country is obliterated, that everybody is at the same level, except, of course, the politically connected, who will still live in Saxonwold and Sandton and drive Italian sports cars.
Yes.
And they want everybody down at the same level, and they want to turn South Africa into a socialist state. Professor Anthea Jeffries puts it very clearly, and people can go and Google her work. She is quoted regularly on a media platform called The Daily Friend, I think, and Anthea Jeffries, and she sets it out. And the Institute for Race Relations has also analyzed the ideological push of the ANC to completely destabilize this country. And of course, if you're doing that, an armed population is very inconvenient.
And I do believe when the riots happened in, what was it, 2021?
Correct.
I think that was a bit of an eye-opener for them, where all the citizens banded together and protected themselves and their areas and everything. I think that kick-started this thinking that we really need to get back on this and get this going again, because that's not working for the plan.
Yeah,
Do you,
and interestingly enough, the citizens weren't only protecting themselves, they were protecting local municipal infrastructure, and they were even protecting the police station, I think, at Tongaat. And Safe
that's right.
Citizen was instrumental in raising funds for 12 gauge and 9mm ammunition for use, for lawful use in KwaZulu-Natal by lawfully licensed people to actually protect that province. And if that had not happened, the community standing up, that insurrection may well have spread across this whole country. But
I'm
it
pretty
was,
certain, yes.
but it was a very, I agree with you, it was a very clear demonstration to this government of the power of an armed populace. And it just defies logic that they think that in times like this and under these crime circumstances, they're going to succeed in disarming people. We don't want to go down that road. None of us.
No.
Everybody that I engage with and that I interact with, and I'm quite sure within your organization as well, we are all lawfully armed citizens. We're all law-abiding citizens. I've never been in a police van in my life, and I don't want to start tomorrow. But they will overnight turn millions of people into criminals and drive firearm sales underground.
Do you foresee that this law could increase crime rather than reduce it?
Without a question. Without a question. Not only will it increase crime in terms of the fact that it will force previously law-abiding people who are more scared of dying than they are of the police to unlawfully acquire firearms, but it will also facilitate more crime amongst the criminals. And if one looks at the Matlanga Commission and the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, we have got more than enough criminals to keep us busy. And some of them are wearing very fancy titles and getting very big salaries at our expense.
Jonathan, when it comes to the pushback on this, which absolutely must happen, and now we can't wait on this, what steps must the public take to get this ball rolling? Let's talk about it.
I'm very pleased you asked the question about the public, because there are two legs to this fight. The one is the formal firearms fraternity, of which your organization or the organization that you're allied to is one. My training academy, for instance, is in the same area of operations. Then the arms and ammunition dealers, the sport shooting associations, the gun clubs, the associations that offer membership and dedicated status to firearm owners are in the formal firearms fraternity. And there's always a lot of effort and focus on the formal firearms fraternity. I did a bit of maths yesterday morning in the shower, and I shared this with some of my colleagues in the formal firearms fraternity. I took the biggest associations and the most well-known associations, and I made blunt guesses as to how many members they had. And then I arrived at a figure of about 135, 140,000 people. Call it, in fact, it was a bit more. Any case, it was about 270,000 people after I had doubled it to account for the ones who I didn't know about. 270,000 people that own guns is 0.43% of the population of South Africa. We cannot fight this fight with gun owners alone, or with gun dealers, or with gun clubs alone. We need to involve the public. The most important voice in this fight is the public. And it's one of the reasons that puts Safe Citizen in such a really good position, because Safe Citizen is a public organization. It's a non-profit organization. We don't charge any membership fee. I don't rely on membership fees to keep operating. And anybody, even your granny that goes to the Tupperware Club, who has never held a gun in her life and never wants to hold a gun in her life, can join Safe Citizen if she is concerned and would like to see community safety in South Africa being enhanced. So it's the type of platforms like AfriForum as well, that is not necessarily there to represent the interests of gun owners. Because in an argument, in a discussion, a debate with a gun-free South Africa, for instance, okay, and we'll talk in a minute about that unfortunate name. If we are taken on to say, oh, but you people are just pro-gun owners. I say, no, Safe Citizen is there for everybody. It is a community safety organization. Are you against community safety? Yes or no? What can they answer? They can only answer no. I say, great,
Of course.
come and join us. Membership is free. The moment that I start representing gun owner associations to the general public and to the government, we lumped in with a very special interest group, which happens to be 0.43% of the population of the country. And so the naming of Safe Citizen was done by me when I created this organization about 5 years ago. And I thought about it from exactly that point of view. Because gun-free South Africa have painted themselves into a corner. They have given themselves a name that is absolutely impossible to ever make happen. It will never happen. Not in your lifetime, not in my lifetime, and not in the lifetime of their youngest grandchildren of the people in gun-free South Africa will you ever see a gun-free South Africa. So maybe they should call themselves crime-free South Africa. Then they will get a lot of support.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Jonathan, where do people get hold of you?
At Safe Citizen, it's very simple, as we're all so familiar with the web, literally safecitizen.co.za. They will see a link to join Safe Citizen. It is a very easy link to join. There are two sets of questions. There's one where you can give some more detail if you want to, or just the basic information that you can keep in touch with us. I have just started really revolutionizing our social media and contact on the website. There's going to be, there are already regular updates every week with new adverts and memes that people can share, with media statements, with things to look out for when I'm going to be appearing on media next. And, you know, people can go and support that. But essentially, it's really about people speaking. If we take the message, if you speak to one person today, Rian, that takes it into his family of 10, and they take it to 10 of their friends and 10 of their friends, that's where we start getting numbers.
I'm going to combine the next two questions. What happens if South Africans stay silent on this? And why must we not be only outraged on social media on this issue? Why must we take that outrage, which is perfectly fine, we should be outraged. Why must we take that outrage and instead of just commenting on social media, use it to support the organizations that are going to be out there fighting this fight on our behalf?
I'll answer your question. There were two questions there. I'll answer the first one first. The reason why people should not stay silent is in a very simple quote, and I think it was by Edmund Burke. Evil prospers when good men stay silent. If we stay silent, the evil that is this government, the evil that is this government will prosper. It is an absolutely, it is a God-given obligation that if you know of evil taking place, you have got to stand up and stand against it. So that's why we should not stay silent. The getting outraged on social media, like I am a little bit volatile this afternoon and a little bit excited in my normal sense because I am passionate about this. It's not good enough to just do that within your own little echo chamber of your own shooting club. That's what I'm talking about when I say if we only look internally to the shooting fraternity, we are in our own little echo chamber, just like the ANC lives in their own echo chamber, because they only look inward and upward in the ANC, and that's why they think they're perfect and they think they're wonderful. We have got to get out of that, and we've got to engage with people who would not necessarily be engaged, people who don't like firearms. And that's why I think in one of my most recent videos, I said, it doesn't matter whether you like firearms or you don't, whether you ever want to own one or you have ever owned one. if this bill comes to pass, it is going to affect you directly and permanently and immediately, and your family and your children and your grandchildren. And so that's why people need to get out of their own echo chamber and stop making, they will never take my gun and I will never give my guns. That's great. It's wonderful sentiment to hear that. It really, as a gun owner and somebody that is in the industry, it makes my heart very happy to know that people feel that way. But they have got to share it with people that are not gun owners. Those are the people that we need to attract and convince. And another way to say this to somebody who doesn't like guns, and this has been well used already, the difference between the trigger of my gun and the red panic button that you push is about 15 minutes. Because when you push that panic button, you are expecting an armed person with a gun to come and save you. That's all. I just choose to have my gun with me all the time. You choose to have your gun in the armed response vehicle down the road. That's all. And if that guy, are you going to be happy if that guy must come to your house with half a can of pepper spray and a wooden billy club to deal with 4 of the type of criminals that we are seeing in home invasions nowadays?
That's the reality, because I mean, the only persons who will not, at the end of the day, fall in line are the criminals, because
Correct.
nothing matters to them. They're
Correct.
going to get guns. They're never going to be gun free,
No.
ever.
No.
And the less guns there are to oppose them, the more well, it's just early Christmas every day.
Exactly. And
Jonathan?
there are political groupings in this country, and I'm not going to talk about them on this podcast. There are political groupings and commercial and corporate and ex-military structures in this country who are in possession of a lot of firearms from pre-1994, when the ANC and the various parties were smuggling guns into this country. And that is where a lot of the firearms come from that are used in CIT heists and brandished around here by the Zamazamas, not from lawful firearm owners. And the government has got a problem with trying to disarm those people, because I know for a fact, back channel, they have already told the government years ago, you can do what you like. You're not getting our guns. Straight, they told them. And these are people with networks that can paralyze this country. And I'm not talking about any of the usual suspects of licensed gun owners. I'm talking about less licensed structures.
So instead, they focus on the low-hanging fruit, the law-abiding citizens of this country, because, that's just so much easier for them.
Yeah. It's absolutely indefensible, but if we stand together, what you are doing with this podcast, if we stand together, and I watched your previous broadcast, because Dion Kutsia sent it to me and he said, would I mind if he quoted me? I said, please do. Absolutely. The publicity is exactly what we are looking for. This is the type of thing that needs to be seen, an interview like this, I think, by people that have not given this any thought, because they don't think about it until they realize that their armed response, when they put their head on their pillow at night and they go to sleep, and they have that nice warm and fuzzy feeling, if there's a bump in the night, I can push that button and the armed response will be there. When they start realizing that the ANC wants to emasculate lawful firearm owners and private citizens, including the security industry, who are viewed in the law as private citizens, then it might get their attention.
Jonathan, I'm going to call it there. I think we've covered quite a bit of ground, and I trust that we have gotten the message across. South Africans, this is not the time to sit back and hope someone else will fix this. Complaining on social media will not stop this bill. Outrage alone won't protect your family. What will make a difference is you, your voice, your action, Your support for the people on the front line fighting for our right to survive. Join organizations like Safe Citizen. Share accurate information, sign every petition, show up when called, because if we don't stand together now, this bill will become law, and our silence will be the weapon used against us. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time and your input. Keep up the good fight, and then we will talk again soon.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Rian, and please do keep in touch. I look forward to it.
Thank you.